Time for week 6 of the 2021 MLB Power Rankings. There are definitely going to be some big changes this week because the Dodgers struggled this week. Like a lot of MLB teams actually struggled this week. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do in today's video. But before I get into this video, 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, so get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like, and let's go ahead and get into this video with my 2021 MLB Power Rankings Week 6 edition. So, coming in at the number 30 spot for the second week in a row, I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers are not good. Akil Baddoo has fallen off, and they're 8-21 right now. Worst record in Major League Baseball, which would mean they are 5th place in the AL Central. 9.5 games back already. They are 1-9 in the last 10 on a 5-game losing streak. 4-9 at home, 4-12 on the road, and they play Boston in their next game. They are not a very good team at all. They suck. Really bad. They're obviously looking towards the future where players like Casey Mize, Tariq Skubal, Spencer Turkleson are all going to be up. They're looking towards the future. They care nothing about this season except tanking for the number 1 overall pick in that 2022 MLB draft. Moving on to number 29, I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. They're bad right now. They moved down 9 spots from last week, 12-16 right now. I thought they were kind of getting on a roll after sweeping the Mets, but the Mets just were not very good in that series. They played the Dodgers in their next series. They were 3-7 in their last 10, 8-7 at home, and 4-9 on the road away from Wrigley. They're 12-16, 5th in the NL Central right now. They're just not a very good baseball team right now. You should expect to blow up at the trade deadline, or at least that's what I think they should do. Trading Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, Wilson Contreras, Kyle Hendricks, and Craig Kimbrell. Anybody who has value, I think needs to be traded, and you can see that in one of my videos talking about the Chicago Cubs, how they're the most directionless team in baseball, because they really are. Moving on to number 28, I'm going to go with the Colorado Rockies. They moved down 1 spot from last week. They're 10-18. They're a bad baseball team. They're tanking. They're bad. Away from Coors Field, they're 2-11, but they have a positive record at home at 8-7. 4-6 in the last 10 on a 1-game losing streak, and they're 10-18, 5th in the NL West, which the NL West looks to really be the best division in baseball right now, with the Diamondbacks competing, the Padres, the Dodgers, the Giants. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Moving on to number 27, I've got the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates, they're starting to kind of level out. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and they're 12-15 right now, 4.5 games back. They're not expected to do much. They obviously have surprised a ton of people so far this MLB season. And yeah, also, all of these records are up to date as of right now, minus the Mets and Phillies. At the time of filming this video, it is in the 6th inning, and it is 4-2 Phillies, and Didi Gregorius just hit a home run, I think. Yeah, he just hit a home run off Miguel Castro. Nice. Anyways, coming in at number 26, the Texas Rangers, who move up 1 spot from last week. They're 13-16. They're kind of just still sneaking in there. And they're 4-6 right now with a 2-game winning streak, 7-9 at home, 6-7 on the road, and they're 13-16 right now. But I mean, they're surprising quite a few people. The Rangers are a pretty exciting team for the future and now, because they could possibly get Trevor Story this offseason. And you've got players like Nick Solak, Adolis Garcia, Joey Gallo. Like, they are a pretty exciting team in my opinion. Coming on to number 25, I've got the Cincinnati Reds, who moved down 3 spots. They're really starting to fall off since their hot start of the season. They're 13-14 right now, 3.5 games back. 4-6 in the last 10, 9-6 at home, and 4-8 on the road. They're just not a very good baseball team. They're starting to really fall off, which is kind of really what we expected, honestly. We did not expect a lot from the Reds. But the NL Central is just a weak division, as you can see. In the bottom 5, they've already got 3 teams. Moving on to number 24, I've got the Minnesota Twins, who do move up 5 spots from last week, 10-16. We know the talent of the Minnesota Twins team. It's just they're not really showing that talent, with a 4-6 in the last 10, 5-8 at home, and 5-8 on the road. So they have a ton of talent. Like, they're hitting with Josh Donaldson, Max Kepler, Luis Arias. Like, they've got a ton of hitters. Their pitching was a concern coming into the season. Kenta Maeda's fallen off tremendously. And you've also got the relief pitching, which is not great, obviously, which is not what I was expecting. I was not expecting it to be great at all. So the Twins come in at number 24. Coming in at number 23, the Baltimore Orioles, who moved down 4 spots from last week. They're 13-15 right now. The Orioles are kind of starting to find their place, even though the AL East is still wide open. They had a 5-5 in their last 10, 4-10 at home, and 9-5 on the road. They're a lot better away from Baltimore than in Baltimore. So, I mean, the Orioles are still they're still competing for the division. Like if they go on a mini 5-game winning streak, then they could easily lead the division, which is pretty interesting. All the divisions really are wide open. Coming in at number 22, Los Angeles Angels. They move up 2 spots from last week, and they're 13-13 right now. The Angels really are not that good of a team. We kind of knew that coming into the season. They have a ton of hitting with Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, Mike Trout, but they don't have any pitching. That was pretty obvious. That's what we've seen this year. Their pitching was average to start the season. With that hot start that they had to start the season, their pitching was still average, and that was what we were expecting coming into the season. Coming in at number 21, I'm going to go with the Cleveland baseball team, who finished at number 21 last week, coincidentally again. They're 13-13, right in the middle. This team is in an interesting spot because you would probably say maybe they should trade Shane Bieber or Jose Ramirez, and that's just not going to happen because Cleveland really is kind of stuck to mediocrity, if we're being honest, because yes, they might make the playoffs, but the AL Central is starting to get a lot tougher, and I think it might be time for the Cleveland baseball team to just kind of come to a realization. Coming in at number 20, Miami Marlins. They moved down 6 spots from last week, 11-16 right now. They're starting to find their spot at the bottom, even though it's still wide open. They're 3-7 in their last 10 on a 3-game losing streak, 4-7 at home, and 7-9 on the road. And they play the hot Arizona Diamondbacks in their next series. So, moving on to number 19, I'm going to go the Arizona Diamondbacks, who we just talked about coincidentally. Move up 4 spots from last week, 15-13 right now. Just 2 games out of the NL West right now, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 on a 1-game winning streak. Yes, sweeping my Braves helped out a lot. Madison Bumgarner, no hitter. Zach Gallen, 1 hitter. Yeah, that was a while ago though. 6-5 at home and 9-8 on the road. This Diamondbacks team, I feel like they were kind of underrated coming into the season, and I said that myself. But they were in a tough division, and it just did not seem very likely. But this NL West right now is wide open. I think that the Dodgers or Padres, one will kind of seal the top of the division. But number 19, Diamondbacks right now. Number 18, New York Mets. They moved down 9 spots from last week. They're 10-11 right now. Now, the NL East is wide open. Now, you would expect coming into the season that it would be wide open, and they're ahead of the Braves right now, which, that's sad. 3-7 right now in their last 10, 6-4 at home, and 4-7 on the road. It's just the hitting. Their pitching is very good. They're being led by Jacob deGrom, who has a less than 1 ERA, Taekwon Walker, Marcus Stroman, and they don't even have Noah Syndergaard and Carlos Carrasco back yet. So they are a very good baseball team. Don't get that screwed. But their hitting is bad. Francisco Lindor, we made a video on what is wrong with Francisco Lindor, and Francisco Lindor, I mean, you can go see my thoughts on him in this video, but their hitting in general is just not very good to start the season, and their hitting has got to be better if they want to be a playoff team, and they are not far out of the division. If they even sweep a team, then they could be up 2 games in that NL East. Moving on to number 17, I've got the Tampa Bay Rays. They are not playing very good baseball right now. They moved down quite a few spots from last week, 14-15 right now. Now, this does come a lot to injuries. Now, obviously, I like the Rays, so I'm going to maybe be a little biased, you could say. But still, I don't think it's really biased when I'm saying that Pete Fairbanks, Nick Anderson, some of their best relief pitchers are out. And that's very true. I mean, their best relief pitchers are out. Now, we knew the hitting, the hitting was going to be there from some players, but Brandon Lau, who would have been an All-Star in 2020 if there was an All-Star game, has not been it this year. Rosarina's kind of fallen off a little bit. Now, he still had a solid season, just not that season that maybe some people were hyping him up to be. Moving on to number 16, Toronto Blue Jays, who move down 1 spot somehow, 14-12 right now. The Blue Jays are actually playing some good baseball. It's just there's a lot of good teams in baseball right now. Maybe the Blue Jays could be a little higher, but I'm going to have to see a little more from the Blue Jays. I know how good their hitting is. I don't need any reminders on how good their hitting is. George Springer, Lourdes Gurriel, Bo Bichette. I don't need any reminders on that. What I need reminders on is their pitching. Yes, they just swept the Braves, which I'm not happy about. I'm not happy, and I'll go into more of a rant. Next, coming on at number 15, New York Yankees. They're standing right in the middle right now. They move up 3 spots from last week, 14 and 14. I think with the Yankees, it's just little baby steps. I mean, the AL East, once again, wide open. They're only 2.5 games back, 7 and 3 in the last 10, and on a 3-game winning streak. The Yankees are starting to play a lot better baseball right now, and that is pretty scary. Corey Kluber's had 2 straight good starts, which is very good for the New York Yankees. Coming in at number 14, I'm going to go with the Seattle Mariners, who moved down 7 spots from last week, 16 and 13. I don't really think the Mariners are for real right now, but I think the Mariners are a very intriguing team after the 2021 MLB offseason, where I hope they would spend money. I would hope that by the end of this season, they'd bring Julio Rodriguez, Jared Kelenic up. I'm so sick of the Mariners manipulating their service time like they're doing, because they didn't bring them up when they could have just a few days ago, and it's getting really sick and really old. They're manipulating these players' service time as much. I could maybe understand for Jared Kelenic just because he hasn't had a lot of experience, maybe not as much as Julio Rodriguez. But Julio Rodriguez definitely needs to be in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. Moving up 4 spots from last week, the Washington Nationals, who are at number 13, 12 and 12 right now, and currently lead the NL East. Now that could change once this Mets-Phillies game gets over, but the Phillies, like I said, are leading right now, and it's still 4-2. But yeah, 12 and 12 right now, 7 and 3 in their last 10, and they're on a 4-game winning streak. The Nationals are starting to play better. Juan Soto, I think, is going to be back in that lineup. So yeah, moving on to number 12, I'm going to go with the Braves. You could say I'm being biased here. They moved down 4 spots from last week, 12 and 16. I'm not happy at all. This team has been a mess to start the season. They just leave me out of words. It has been the Ronald Acuna show. It has been the Ronald Acuna show and nobody else. He has had no help. Just about no help. The pitching is bad. It's just not good. The hitting, besides Ronald Acuna, like I said again, it's just not good. Marcell Ozuna looks like a product of 2020 60 games. Travis D'Arnaud's on the 60-day IL. This is just a very, very disappointing team. There's been, what feels like about 20 walk-offs to start the season, and they've only played 28 games. This is out of hand. I'm not happy, as you can see. And, yeah, gotta be better. 11, St. Louis Cardinals move up 5 spots from last week, 16 and 12. Cardinals have had a great last 10, 8 and 2 on a 4-game winning streak, 7 and 6 at home, 9 and 6 on the road. They're starting to get a lot better. And they're only 1 game back of Milwaukee for first place in the NL Central. Now, moving on to the top 10, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies, who are playing like the best team in the NL East right now. They were at number 10 last week as well. 13 and 14 most likely will improve to 14 and 14. Right now, the NL East is wide open. I don't really know what to make of these NL East teams right now, just for the simple reason it's so wide open. But I still think that there are some very good teams in that division, even though they're not playing well. I mean, this is the time for teams to be struggling, if we're being honest. It's in April. Hopefully you won't be struggling as bad in the playoffs. Number 9, Houston Astros, who move up 16 spots from last week, 14 and 12 right now. We knew that they were going to move up a lot of spots this week, and that was simply because of the reason they were getting half their lineup back, like Jordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, all those players that were in COVID protocols, IL, etc. So, actually, they're 15 and 13. Sorry, I mistyped that. My fault. My fault. 1.5 games back, 7 and 3 in the last 10, 7 and 7 at home, and 8 and 6 on the road. 8, Boston Red Sox. They moved down 4 spots from last week, 14 and 11. 14 and 11. What? 17 and 12. 5 and 5 in the last 10. 8 and 8 at home, and 9 and 4 on the road. They play Detroit in their next series, which should be some easy wins because Detroit sucks. Coming in at number 7, I'm going to go with the Oakland Athletics, who currently lead the AL West. They were at number 2 last week, and 17 and 12 right now, 5 and 5 in the last 10, 9 and 8 at home, and 8 and 4 on the road. So, coming in at number 6, the San Francisco Giants, who moved down for some reason 1 spot from last week, 17 and 11. Yes, they moved down 1 spot. That's just a product because some teams are really getting better. But the Giants are still a very surprising team so far this season. 17-11, currently leading the NL West. 6-4 in their last 10, 10-3 at home, and 7-8 on the road. So, I mean, the Giants are surprising everybody. That starting rotation cannot stay with like a 2 something ERA. Like that's gonna have to. That's really gonna have to. I mean, that just is not gonna happen for a full season. Coming in at number 5, division rival San Diego Padres, who moved down 2 spots from last week, 16-13 right now, 1.5 games back in the NL West, 6-4 in the last 10, 7-9 at home, and 9-4 on the road. So they play the Pirates in their next series, which should be some easy wins, but the Pirates are kind of scrappy this year. But San Diego, they are playing better as of late, but they still are going to have to play better. Coming in at number 4, Milwaukee Brewers, who moved up 2 spots from last week, 17-11. The Brewers are playing very well, 6-4 in the last 10, 8-8 at home, and 9-3 on the road. They're a lot better on the road. I mean, as far as the Brewers' upcoming schedule, let's go ahead and look at that. So they play the Phillies in their next series. Like they don't have the NL Central. I mean the Marlins and the Cardinals, then the Braves, Royals. Like as of right now, they don't have a very easy schedule coming up, so this will be a good test for the Milwaukee Brewers. Coming in the top 3, Kansas City Royals, who move up 10 spots from last week, 16-10. They're starting to show me that they're for real. Like Danny Duffy's pitching like a Cy Young. And then you've also got 16-10 record, best record in baseball, I'm pretty sure. 7-3 in the last 10, and 8-5 at home, and 8-5 on the road. They play Cleveland in their next series. Now, coming in at number 2, I'm going to go to the Chicago White Sox. They move up 10 spots from last week. 15-12 right now. The White Sox, I think, are a better team than the Kansas City Royals. Mike Kopech has been pitching out of his mind to start the season. They're 7-3 in the last 10 as well on a 1-game losing streak. 9-6 at home and 6-6 on the road. They play Cincinnati in their next series. And the number 1 best team in baseball, again, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yes, they 17-12. They're the most talented team in baseball. Now I know that most talented doesn't always mean that that's a guaranteed World Series. But they're 17-12. They're half a game back, 3-7 in the last 10. I know, 8-5 at home, 9-7 on the road. Yes, they had a bad week. But I don't think I'm ready to put any other team at number 1. I really don't. I think that it's the Dodgers. And yeah, I debated putting another team at 1, but I just don't really think I can. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, like I said, leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications, because 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like. Thank you for watching, and peace.